Hello, friends. So, in this episode, we are going to talk about life after a spiritual awakening. So, oh my gosh, where do I start? Y'all, I had to really dive back into the recesses of my brain because, admittedly, I am not in a beginner's mind. And I will say that it's hard to get back to that sometimes, but I will never forget some of these things. So, bear with me. I'm drinking my coffee as I do this. Hello on YouTube and hello, Spotify. So, or wherever you're listening to. Mm, good morning. So we're just after the holidays, and I feel like I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things. But I had made a TikTok video about this, and I was like, you know what? I really want to expand on this because it was truly a journey after awakening. So you think that awakening is like, oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. I am like, am I hallucinating? Like, how could I have not seen this before? And why I used to shame myself. Like, why am I just now waking up? And so if you're in that space, I invite you to not shame yourself. And I swear, y'all, things happen in divine timing. That really is a universal law that took me a while to just understand and to digest. So, all right, let's get going here. So this is awakening can feel like a massive shift, because a lot of people misunderstand that, okay, well, I'm awake now. I'm awake now. So it's the end. It's the end of the journey. And that is so not true. After my spiritual awakening, I realized how much I really needed to heal. And I was so committed to, and I'm very committed to this discussion too. And I was committed to my own healing because, when you bring a lot of things into your awareness, um, it's a myriad of issues, or there can be a myriad of issues, and it's just multidimensional. It can be in your personal relationships, well, in your relationship to yourself, let's be real, and even like familial shadow and things like that. And that's why I'm so committed to being a really good shadow coach as well. So, after your paradigm is shattered and you learn that a lot of the things that you've been taught are lies, then I mean, imagine your nervous system. Y'all, we'll get to all of this. So, the reality of awakening, let's talk about it. Awakening doesn't mean just constant bliss. It's the start of living honestly with clarity, you know there's beauty, there's challenges of seeing through societal illusions. And awakening, y'all, is not like a one and done thing. It is ongoing. It's not a one-time event. So you may have, here's an example, you may have moments of peace and understanding there, but there's always going to be times when the weight of seeing things so clearly can feel so heavy because you're wondering, why is everybody else not seeing this? This must mean there's something wrong with me, right? And there is absolutely, people are still waking up. I want to say there's nothing wrong with you. So know that that comes with it, those moments of peace, and then those moments of like, there's something because it's heavy. It's heavy. So here comes the integration phase. And here's where the importance of shadow work, releasing old identities, but not only releasing old identities, you have got to step into a whole new identity. And so a lot of this stuff, I can say your nervous system needs so much work around this because it can feel so unnerving to step into something, where you're speaking different, almost like a different language to some people, and the hunger to learn more is so real. So some of the feelings I know, like this is where the shadow comes in, are grief, confusion. You feel that confusion energy that I've talked about already without saying confusion, loneliness, and then this great sense of like joy, like freedom, honestly. I look at it a lot of times as our sovereignty. And so there is a practice, and it's called a hoocha practice. And this is what I like to use as a daily tool, as a daily practice to just release dense energy and refill myself back with light. Because a lot of times, in shamanic practices that I've learned working with shamans, is that whenever we release dense emotions, we release whatever is in us, right? Then we need to fill ourselves back up and fill ourselves back up with ourselves and or just like white light, whatever it is that you feel resonant with. So with that being said, I want to share with you. Now, this is something that I usually only share with my paid clients. I did learn this from another shaman, right? But there's something called, like I said, a hoocha practice. And I'm going to show you my own hoocha stone. There are different practices around this, like different stones. This is a river rock that I went and I wanted it to be dark. I wanted it to hold dark, dense energy. You can also use a clear quartz, but clear quartz to me almost just like amplifies that dense energy because it is an amplifier. So, with that being said, this hoocha stone, and I know some people are going to be like, what? But if you know anything about stones and how they actually are record keepers, and it doesn't even matter, like even a river rock, right? Because you can look at the rock and you can see all the different layers and records of time that they have kept. And so go pick a hoocha stone, go to the river, find one that's dark. If you're resonant with this, you can use a clear quartz, but be careful with that one. Mm. And you want it to be about palm, the size of your palm, right? So that it fits in your hand. So I'm showing this on YouTube, y'all. If you are watching this on YouTube, then you'll know. But so you've got this black, mine's more dark than anything. And what you do, and this may seem so silly, but y'all, you know how the body keeps the score, right? That's all. There's a whole book called The Body Keeps the Score. And sometimes we're not comfortable being in our bodies, but this is another way to get into your body because shadow will keep you away from your body. So using this, eternal music, y'all. Music always turns stones on, right? It turns on the work. So what you do is go all over your body, just listening to music, kind of like dancing it out, right? And as soon as you feel like your rock is full, this is where you get to lean in to your intuition. Then you take the stone and you on the ground. Tap it on the ground. Give it back to Pachamama, Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, as some people say. And just do it all over your body, moving with it. And you will be so, it's such a somatic experience. It's such a somatic way to feel because you've set the intention before you've started that you want to release this dense energy, right? And so notice I hope you do this, y'all. Do this practice, this sutra practice, because it's really a way to ground yourself as well, because you're so in your body. So, y'all, a lot of times when we're, post awakening or we're in our healing process, which is more of integrating, we'll get to this part, we can feel so disconnected and dissociated from our bodies. And so that's why I am just encouraging you so much. Feel silly. Turn the music on. Get into your body. Get connected with yourself so that you feel yourself. That's what we don't want to do a lot of times is feel. And so it's that easy. Take 5 minutes to do a hoocha practice every day. There's different ways to do a hoocha practice. That's one way that I found is just it's easy, it's intuitive, and it can almost be fun as you release it. Sometimes you may start crying and just, oh, how cathartic, how cathartic. So I hope that you can do that. Now, there's also I'm, because here's what happens a lot of times, and I'm going to get a little geeky for just a minute and talk about our parasympathetic nervous system versus the sympathetic nervous system. Now, as a nurse, yes, I learned anatomy and physiology. I learned all these things, but we did not take anyway, when I was a nurse at the bedside, especially, I mean, I didn't take anything seriously about the nervous system, but it is so, if we tended to the nervous system better, more, made or acknowledged that that's really what it is. The nervous system gets fried sometimes, especially after awakening. You know, you may see those people who are like on LSD and they are like really flighty and like can't form a sentence and just they have a lot of chaotic chi or chaotic energy is because they have all these openings, these tears in their auric field. And so one way to do that is to, yeah, go to an energy practitioner, have them seal up. But see, here's the thing, y'all. I have so much to say about this because you are your own best medicine and you can repair those holes yourself. If you have questions about that, comment below if you're on YouTube. And I think you can even comment on Spotify. So let me know if you want to hear more about that. But the ways that we ground, y'all, the quickest way to get alkaline in your body, which helps you fight inflammation physiologically, but also helps to ground the nervous system is through breath work, right? And if you're watching this again on YouTube, then I can show you some really great ways to ground yourself. There's one alternate nostril breathing that I absolutely love. I'll demonstrate that for you now. Now, I make this super freaking friendly. So I want you to make a hang loose sign. All right, like, yeah, hang loose. Right. And I want you to take your thumb and put it on, you can put it over your right nostril and you can close your eyes. But what you're going to do is inhale through your left nostril, exhale through your left nostril. Then you're going to take your pinky and close off the left nostril. And you're going to inhale through the right nostril, exhale through the right nostril. Take your thumb and close the right nostril. Inhale through the left nostril, exhale through the left nostril. And then in my nose, you want to make sure that you blow your nose before you do this because I've had the flu. That's where I have been. So I probably need to go blow my nose now. But I don't want to get too graphic on you. But that right there, and or this. One of the my favorite breathing techniques is just to count from 10 to 1 backwards. And so I inhale with 10 in mind. I exhale 9. I'm doing this through my nose. Inhale 8 through the nose. Exhale 7 through the nose or the mouth, it doesn't matter. Inhale 6. Exhale 5. Inhale 4. I can already feel this. Exhale 3 through the mouth. Inhale 2 through the nose. Exhale 1 through the mouth. And I need a nap. That's how quickly it will ground you. So don't, y'all, your breath is your life. Don't forget your breath. It is your essence. It is your life force, energy, in action. So with that being said, one of the 4 things that we're going to talk about here is navigating authenticity and vulnerability. Because, you know, it can be a challenge living authentically and being really true to yourself, especially in a world that thrives on masks. People put up this false persona. They wear this false mask. And here you are, post awakening, trying to take off the mask and trying to get to the real identity of who you really, really are. Right? That's sovereignty. Taking your power back and like living like who you truly are at your core. So with that being said, too, it can be, you know, vulnerability becomes a strength. And it really opens doors to deeper connections with people. I think one of the most powerful exercises that we do on our retreats is gazing and like really talking, eye gazing, right? And whenever you're talking to somebody, just looking them in the eye It will provoke so much emotion. I don't know if you've seen this video going around, and it's these two people just sitting there staring at each other with no words. And you can see this, how powerful it is. Try this. Try this. Even if it's just you, look into the mirror. This is called mirror work, right? Some people, can't even look in the mirror, and that makes me so sad because we need to accept ourselves fully. So if you don't have somebody to just gaze at, and this is a powerful um, thing that you can do as an exercise at a retreat that will provoke a lot of emotion. Because here's the thing, people just want to be seen and heard and witnessed. And when you hold space for that very deep connection that doesn't even need words, it is one of the most profound, emotion evoking or provoking things that you can do. I hope you try it. And there's, things that we need to do to protect our energy, like drawing boundaries, which I know a lot if you're used to being a people pleaser, which is a trap. Sorry, if you work with me, you know what that is. We will do a trap map. You will know your traps. But people pleasing and lack of boundaries, which I need to do a whole podcast episode on boundaries and how to like create boundaries and why they're important. But I'll tell you the gist right now is that boundaries aren't just for you, they're for the other person too, because that other person, you need to create safety in any kind of relationship that you're in. And so don't leave those people guessing what's okay with you and what's not okay. Simply state your boundaries. As a matter of fact, I think, well, in my opinion, I just respect people more if they tell me what their boundaries are. It just immediately makes me command respect for this person. So, another thing that happens like post awakening is you find your joy, you find your purpose a lot of times. And sometimes you're just like, oh my, my purpose is just to be joy. My purpose is just to embody love and just be love, right? It doesn't mean that you have to be like, oh, I have to. And I do work with female entrepreneurs with big missions, big messages. But here's the thing, y'all, is that it's not go big or go home. We need people out here being joy, being light, right? Everybody. It's going to take the collective and a collective consciousness to create this. So, awakening can bring this like really steady joy, and it's so rooted in the present moment, rather than like external achievements. And you will find that just being present with yourself, because that's all we have, right, is the present moment. We don't have the past. We don't know what the future is going to bring. All we have is now. And so whenever you can be present instead of thinking about, or future casting, that's what I call it a lot, future casting or ruminating on the past, there is so much happiness in stillness, so much peace in stillness. And another important thing I think that after you awaken to do is to write out your values, right? You can go Google, like what are values and what are some words associated with values. But I'll tell you what my top values are. Definitely courage. I've had to have a lot of courage to walk through this world, especially after post awakening, and especially being type 1 diabetic. Like I've had to summon my courage so much to leap my nursing career. Summon my courage to create a whole new identity, or rather sink into the real identity of who I am. I had to forgive myself. There's so much involved in this, y'all, post awakening, because this is where shadow work is so important, to walk you back home to yourself. So you integrate and truly heal because I think healing is integration. So look up your values. Again, one of my top values is courage, sovereignty, my freedom, integrity, integrity. So I still get triggered when I see people not being in, especially brands. So I work with a lot of brands, and when I see brands not being, like stealing ideas from other brands, which happens a lot in the beauty industry, I know. I'm like, how do people sleep at night knowing that they lacked integrity and honesty? And so those are my values. I encourage you to look at yours because as you create this new identity post awakening, that's what's going to ground you into even boundaries. I'll go back to this because as soon as somebody crosses your boundaries, if you know your values, it is like boom. I and you'll know what to do. This is where you get to start trusting yourself and who you are. So finding your purpose. You may, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, now I have to have this huge purpose. I have to have this huge purpose. And I want to encourage you to just sit with that. What is your purpose? Here's one thing I say, especially with my clients who are wanting to become more visible on social media. And they're like, I don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, I'm going to call BS on that because yes, you do. Look at your life experiences. What could you stand on stage and talk about for 30 minutes uninterrupted because you're just so passionate about it? It doesn't matter what it is at all. It doesn't matter what it is. I think I said on a TikTok video lately, it was like you could literally talk about how to clean your kid's room or how to get organized. Like, I would totally be down with that one. How to get organized, right? Especially with all the junk. So I do encourage you to have a daily practice, whether that be a huja practice or a daily journaling practice. That's another way to move dense energy out of your body. There's so many ways. Don't let your creativity just have its way with you because well, you don't have to get stuck in this box of thinking, oh my gosh, it has to be just like this. It has to be just like this. No. So I want you to remember this, and we'll wrap this up here, is that awakening is a lifelong process. And there's no one way to do it right. There isn't. You'll start to see that perfectionism is an illusion. It is, and so many people in the spiritual community get so wrapped up in perfectionism. Like, if this isn't perfect, because trust me, as a course creator, I mean, I myself like that's perfectionism is another trap for self-sabotage. So remember that. Um, there is so many different ways to ground yourself. Like I said, using your breath, going outside, walking, meditation. And meditation isn't just like sitting, emptying your brain. Yes, it can be. And a lot of people say, yes, that's the only way. There are walking meditations, things that just bring you into the present and start to detach you from your conscious or the ego, I will say, the ego mind. And so, one way, let's just imagine, and if you're somewhere safe where you can close your eyes for just a moment, do this with me. Take a deep breath, relax your shoulders, and imagine your energy rooted deeply in the earth. Maybe that's through a grounding cord, or maybe it's through deep, deep roots that come through the feet. Maybe you start to see you're anchored to Pachamama, the center of Mother Gaia. And once you're anchored, I want you to feel this expansive energy that runs up your legs, up your feet. And it expands upward into this limitless sky. The sky isn't even the limit. And feel the balance of clarity, connection, and the light within you from earth to mother's, from the mother earth to father sky. And as you feel this expansiveness of you, feel this limitlessness of you, take it all in. Feel what that feels like in your body to be rooted so deeply in you and so connected by the light above you. And as you allow yourself to feel this, and when you're ready to come out of this, maybe you turn some music on and do this yourself. I encourage you to journal your experiences. Pay close attention to your dreams because you don't want to forget your experiences, right? So don't forget to reflect on who you are, the values that you hold, right? Because life post awakening is not a one and done. There are layers and layers and layers of old identity, old stories, old limiting beliefs, old shadow parts of you that want to come forward. I don't think people awaken for no reason. I think there's a reason, meaning so that you can share, whether it's just through sharing on social media, like sharing your stories through writing a blog, whatever it is. If TikTok doesn't get banned, then you can be on TikTok sharing your story. People need to hear it because people, again, want to feel connected, and your people will resonate with you. I know that. I know that to my core of core. So, life post spiritual awakening, this could be the whole podcast, y'all, could be about life after awakening. So if this has provoked any kind of questions in you and any kind of, because I have plenty of stories I'll be sharing here on my lives, or on my podcast rather. I'm sorry, I go live a lot too. Um, is this? I mean, it's us sharing our own experiences, and I know I felt like my family thought, who the you are crazy until some of them started waking up to you. Because once you wake up, especially to energy, you cannot unsee. You cannot unsee. And I'll leave you with this, especially from a lived experience myself. And it was when I was going to a Reiki practitioner. Now, I don't believe that you need Reiki. I need to do a whole podcast episode about that one. I do not believe that you need Reiki you don't. So I was going to a Reiki practitioner though before I ever learned Reiki and was attuned to Reiki. And I had just lost one of my employees to ovarian cancer. And her name was Joy. And I swear, like her name was so fitting because she was just pure joy. Like everybody loved her. She was the best nurse ever. Well, she had passed from ovarian cancer, and I had went to the doctor because I was having a lot of female problems, was in a lot of pain. And so I go and they're like, Andrea, you've got this cyst on your ovary. And it was a full cyst, like it wasn't it was solid. It wasn't liquid, is what I'm trying to say. And I immediately went, nurse brain, you go to like worst case scenario. So I was like, oh my God, what? So I go to my Reiki practitioner and I lay on my stomach and I'm like, her name was Jennifer. I said, Jennifer, I want this gone. I'm scared. Like my intention is for this to leave my body. And so it is. And so it is. And so as soon as we started the session, she went down my lower back. Y'all, I could feel it leave through the left side of my hip, it went down through my left leg and out my left foot, and it went zing. There was like this zing, there was like this noise that came with it. And I knew it was gone. There was no shadow of a doubt. Like I knew it was gone. I felt it leave my body. And so when I went to surgery, because I still had to have surgery, I went to my surgeon and I said, her name was Brandy. I said, Brandy, it's not there. I know it's not there. And so I was like, take a picture, like do whatever, like just show me, And so when I wake up post hysterectomy, she had a picture of my pearly ovaries and it was not there. And y'all, when I say I knew it, I knew it. And so there is so much more to life than we've ever been allowed to believe. And until you decide to get on this journey, to start trusting, like, okay, it takes a lot of faith. And I'm just going to trust the process. I'm just going to trust the process. Divine timing, divine timing. So be looking forward to a lot of other episodes about this, but I would love to, even for your participation, because here's the thing, like I won't know what you want to hear. I'm not a mind reader all the time. So if I can help you in any way, talk about any subject, um, I'm here for it. So I'm sending you lots of love. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Inner Alchemy Podcast with Andrea Arledge.